Question number 2, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all his statements?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, and I'm particularly pleased to stand by my statement earlier today that this government has increased funding to Pharmac to $850 million a year, an increase of $200 million since 2008.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he stand by his statement that, quotes, "I'm open and to talk to Koru Lounge members all the time"?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think I actually said the last part there. I said I'm in the Koru Lounge and I talk to people. I didn't say I talk to Koru Lounge members.
Supplementary.
Order. Order.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
In his travels through Koru Lounges, has he talked to Tracy Allen, a terminally ill woman who now has to choose between heating her cold rental house or buying food?
The Right Honourable Prime
Mr. Speaker, no, I haven't. But what I would say to her is that this government is supporting her and a great many people like her in so many different ways, including insulating 320,000 homes, ensuring another 180,000 homes will be insulated in the next 3 years. If she is on any sort of benefit, then she may well have benefited from the increases this government's got. She certainly benefited, I would have said, from the extra money going into health under this government, and may well benefit from new drugs that are being supported by Pharmac today.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Putting aside the fact that drugs are not normally a source of heat in households, how many of the 42,000 kids hospitalised each year because of cold, damp, mouldy homes has he met in Koru Lounges or elsewhere recently?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't have that number. Remember, if he wants an answer, we'd actually have to ask the Minister of Building and Housing, and I suggest put that down in writing. But what I would say is a lot less because of the 320,000 homes that have been insulated under my government's watch.
Supplementary.
What about the cold part?
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
What is his response to Children's Commissioner Russell Wills, who says that his government's rental standards are, quotes, shameful, and, quotes, a wasted opportunity and a broken promise to our children that will do little for children living in cold, damp, mouldy housing?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, what I would say is, firstly, this government has insulated 320,000 homes. It has further 180,000 homes that will be insulated. I'd say this government has increased benefits for the first time in 43 years, which will assist people to pay for the heating that they have. Mr. Speaker, this government has created 200,000 jobs in the last 8 years, which will allow more people to have employment to pay for their heating. And, Mr. Speaker, what I will say is I won't do what that member is suggesting, which is put up the very rents of the people he claims he's trying to support.
That's right.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
What is his response to Dr. Kimberly O'Sullivan, whose new study shows that requiring 2008 insulation standards rather than the 1978 standards promoted by his Minister of Building and Construction would keep thousands of kids out of hospital each year?
The Right
Speaker,
Honourable Prime Minister.
Again, it's a very technical question which the member really needs to ask the Minister of Building and Housing, because I haven't made a statement in that area. But, Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Building and Housing advises me that the cost outweighed the benefits.
Oh,
Supplementary.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he agree with Nick Smith that the costs of modern insulation and heating standards aren't worth the benefits? Listen, Nick. Given...
Order.
Listen.
Order. If the member, the Honourable Dr Nick Smith, continues to interject and cause disruption when the question is being asked, I'll be asking him to leave. Would the member please start the question again?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does he agree with Nick Smith that the costs of modern insulation and heating standards aren't worth the benefits, given that the benefits are preventing Kiwi kids from getting sick and from dying?
The Right Honourable
Mr. Speaker, well, I agree with Nick Smith in the context of the statements he would have been making. Mr. Speaker, but I say this, I mean, the member gets up as if his previous government had any kind of track record when it came to insulating and warming up homes. They were a disgrace. There was 50,000 homes that have been insulated in the entire 9 years. In fact, that number's being generous. And actually, Mr. Speaker, it'll be 500,000 on our government's watch.
10 times. Results. Alien Labour.
Supplementary question, Derek Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary to the Prime Minister. Does he still stand by his recent statement in regards to employment that, quote, we have strong results for young people, end quote, given this government has now produced an increase of 8,500 unemployed young people and a neat rate which includes the highest quarterly increase of unemployed young men since records began?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I do stand by that statement. I stand by that statement because under my government's watch, 200,000 jobs have been increased. Mr. Speaker, you're seeing that with migration numbers of how many people are coming back. The overall neat rate has been falling dramatically under this government, increasing under this government because people are either in work, in training, or in education. That's true.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
On his statement regarding following the OED on corporate tax, why won't his government take real action on international corporates, such as Facebook paying a lousy $43,000 in tax, Tegel a lousy 0.38% in tax, Lockheed Martin a lousy $155,000 on revenue of $27 million? That is, Prime Minister, real action like the Australians took yesterday.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, a couple of things. On is not the way to start a question. The OED is no longer a multilateral organisation. It's the OECD.
Order. Point of order.
Order.
I can't answer
Order.
the question, eh?
Order. Order. Point of order, the Right
Mr.
Honourable.
Speaker, you are the judge of how a question should be put. You have the authority to make that decision, not some illiterate like the Prime Minister.
I'm pleased that the member acknowledges that I'm the judge of such issues.
That's a nice change.
And on this occasion, the question I'm generously allowing, and now the Prime Minister can answer it.
Mr. Speaker, I say to the member, if he hangs around long enough in question time today, we'll be able to see just how good the Speaker is.
Order. Order. Order.
No, John boy.
Order. Would the Prime Minister please... Order. Would the Prime Minister now ask the question that was originally asked?
Okay, I'll ask myself a question, then I'll answer it, Mr. Speaker. Are multinationals paying enough? Okay.
Point of order, the Right
Speaker,
Honourable
with the greatest respect, the question time goes like this. A member asks a question of a minister. He does not start asking himself questions. Otherwise, he should be sent off to the loony bin.
I could oblige, but it might not be necessarily the way the member wants. Does the Prime Minister want to complete his answer? Otherwise, we're moving on to another question.
Mr. Speaker, it's so far back I'm trying to remember. But Mr. Speaker, the government's view is that we are working with the OECD to make sure that multinationals pay their fair share of tax. I don't think there's too much debate they're paying what is legally required of them today, but because of a range of arrangements available to them, our view is that there may well be better opportunities for New Zealand from a tax perspective, and we're working with the OECD on base minimisation for that reason.
Question number 3,